It's so funny because when I say all of this out loud, I look back and I'm like, it's so obvious why it was so hard to love my body. If you see it as a burden, how could you love it? This is something I've been reflecting on for months and I haven't found the words for it, but I think today is gonna be the day. The Diaries of an Arab Girl with Body Image Issues. And I wanna take you on this journey and all of the different, I guess, chapters or phases of my lifelong struggle to love my body, regardless how it looked. Like, it looked very different from phase to phase. Kind of hit me like a ton of bricks that this is a deeper issue. It's not just what you're seeing in the mirror. So let's start way back. From a very young age, I got signals from my environment that my body was not mine. So if that makes no sense, just listen up. So I grew up in a very close family, uncles, aunts, over every day. My family is very touchy-feely. Like, touch is, I think, our universal love language as a family. Every here and there, a family member would pinch me or touch me. And as a little kid, obviously your reaction is, stop, stop. One of my uncles growing up, with all good intention, like he didn't mean anything by it, would constantly be like, stop telling me to stop, like in a playful way. Like, I should be able to touch you or hug you or show love to you whenever I want. And now let me just get something straight. Like, there was no foul play, thank God. I didn't have any of those experiences personally in my family. Nothing was inappropriate. Nothing felt like I was being sexually violated, thank God. But it's a dangerous message for a child to hear, you know? It's just a dangerous message. It's not a message I intend to let people say to my kids is, don't tell my kid to stop. If my child is using the 5 words that they have to stand up for themselves and let you know that what's being done is not wanted, even if it's not because they feel truly violated, they just don't want to be touched, that's okay. And I know a lot of us in our culture would call that soft, and I don't care, because it's like very much so made me feel like I don't have autonomy within my own body. This was probably the mildest thing of the things that I'm going to talk through when I get real about my lack of comfort and my lack of love for my body. I really do remember it, dating way back to those days where I truly didn't feel like my body was my own. During this time also, we would constantly get scolded for sitting a certain way. And mind you, we'd be like 4 years old and you know, you naturally sit, your legs are spread out. And if you come from an Arab or Muslim family, I'm sure you know this, girls were constantly told to cross their legs. I'm literally crossing my legs as I'm recording this video. It's just now kind of ingrained in me. I just think that 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 is too young to be telling a child that the way that they're sitting is making other people uncomfortable. Your body and your body posture and your body position is something that you need to be hyper conscious of at that age so that you don't look shameful in front of other people. And again, like, listen guys, I'm not shaming our parents, I'm not shaming our families, but us as a community and as a generation that has more education around this, has more awareness around this, it's just not something I plan to bring to my upbringing with my children. I want them to feel like kids. I want them to feel proud of their bodies. I want them to feel comfortable and good in their bodies during those foundational years. And I know that during those foundational years for me, I did not feel that way. I had 2 cousins who were 1 year and 2 years older than me, 2 other girl cousins who I grew up basically attached at the hip. They happened to have thinner frames than I did. I developed a little bit faster than both of them. I started getting boobs and a butt and just having a little bit more weight on me. People in my family would constantly make comments to allude to the fact that I was the thicker one, or I was chubbier, or I was bigger. When I look at my pictures, I was like scrawny. And I'm like, what were you guys doing? Like, why was anyone telling me that I needed to be weight conscious at an age where, number 1, I'm not even developed. Number 2, I'm literally skin and bones. I just remember constantly being compared, and that never stopped. Even things that most girls might be proud of, the fact that I grew boobs at a young age, like most girls would have been excited by that, I just felt ashamed by it. I had people in my family tell me to sleep on my stomach so my boobs would stop growing. It's kind of funny. Again, it's just this cloud of shame. Like, I felt burdened by my body in so many ways. I just felt burdened. I felt like this thing is just constantly drawing attention to me that I don't want. And so it's like, how could I have developed a foundation of love with this thing that is constantly drawing in attention that I never asked for? In comes the 3rd chapter, which I call the snitch. My body started to feel like a snitch just for existing. It started to feel like it was constantly getting me in trouble. My dad was religiously conservative, and so there was constantly this back and forth in my household. As the oldest Arab daughter about the things that I was wearing. There were numerous times where I was sent back upstairs to change my outfit. As much as that might be a normal thing that happens within Arab households, I'm sure my kid is gonna come downstairs, my daughter or son, wearing something crazy, and I'm gonna send their ass right upstairs and have them change. But I just think the surrounding issues that I just talked about kind of just added to the shame that I was feeling. How it would go is that he would have this seat in the living room, and I'd come down the stairs and I would go that way instead of this way. I can either walk around him and go to the kitchen, or I could walk around him and go to the kitchen this way. Anytime I would take a left turn off the staircase, my dad would know that I was trying to hide something from him, so it would actually draw more attention. He'd be like, in Arabic, and I'm like walking by him, and then he would just like scrutinize what I was wearing. And sometimes I'd pass the vibe check, most times I wouldn't. And on one of these days where I didn't pass the vibe check and he told me go upstairs and change your shirt, I just like remember grabbing my deodorant at the time and just launching it at the wall, and it just exploded into so many pieces. I didn't have tantrums a lot growing up. Like, I wasn't the kid that yelled at my parents. Obviously, if you're an Arab child, like, you just don't do that. I wasn't the kid that slammed my doors. Like, I wasn't doing all that. But I just remember, like, in that moment feeling like I needed to have control over something. Not to be dramatic, but really, like, felt helpless. I felt like I'm being controlled. And every oldest Arab daughter, I have this theory that we all have control issues. Like, we hate being told what to do. We are kind of rebellious sometimes. When you're that age, how you dress is your way of creative expression. It's kind of part of your identity. It's how you want to show up to the world. And I constantly felt like that was being censored all the time. So obviously, Mithl Shatra, I went and changed, and then I came back downstairs in something that I knew he would be okay with. I was a freshman in high school. I still was not very developed. Like, skin and bones for the most part. I had some, like, a little bit of boobs. I didn't really have a butt, but I was walking in Lebanon. I was walking with my cousin, and my brother and his friend were a little bit behind us. They were trailing behind us, so they didn't necessarily look like they were with us. As we were walking along the streets downtown, there were like people who would work at the restaurants, like kind of standing outside of the restaurant to try to bring people in. And so as I'm walking, this really disgusting, creepy guy just leans in and says in Arabic, like, I would do anything for you, or like just something disgusting. And again, I'm literally like freaking 12 at this point in my life. But even at that age, I had been conditioned to get catcalled and to just ignore them. So I was just trained to just roll my eyes and just pretend he didn't exist and keep walking. But of course, my brother saw the interaction, literally like grabbed the guy. He was just gonna like kill him. He like grabbed him, started screaming at the guy. The guy got scared. He didn't know my brother was with us. I was extremely embarrassed. I kept trying to tell my brother to stop because I felt like I caused this. In my mind, it's like my brother should just know, like, this happens all the time, just leave it alone. But obviously my brother wasn't trying to leave it alone. To make matters way more embarrassing and way worse, my brother tells my uncle, who lives in Lebanon, because he wanted to like round the troops and do something to this guy, I think. And my brother was he had just graduated high school. He was young. And my uncle literally asks my brother what I was wearing and blames the whole thing on me. Baddies, I was literally in like a t-shirt with ripped jeans that weren't showing skin. Like, they were just, you know, the tears that show no skin. Not to say that anything I was wearing would warrant someone being disgusting, but I had nothing. Like, my jeans, like, I don't know what I was freaking 12, you know? It's just the epitome of victim blaming, and once again reinforcing the idea that my body is a snitch. It's just this liability, it's this snitch. And so how could I love something that was constantly getting me in so much trouble when I didn't think I was actually doing anything wrong? The year later, I went to Lebanon, visited a different uncle, stayed there for a couple months, gained a lot of weight. That's in a whole other video. I talked about that weight gain period. And it was during a time where I was in high school. I was, for all of these reasons, still not comfortable with my body. But on top of that, just being a normal adolescent who's going through normal growing body pains, right? So there's just all of this stuff compounded on top of each other. And then I gained a very significant amount of weight. It must have been like 20 pounds because I just wasn't aware. Like, I was eating things I wasn't very aware. I was not being active. Came back and got some feedback from my environment, a few people in my life who had really commented on how much weight I gained, and it made me so insecure. And from there, that's where my 15+ year-long weight loss journey started. And this was really the season where I just felt like I was not in control of my body. Like, this thing is conspiring against me. Not only is it getting me in trouble, I gained all this unwanted weight. I'm trying to lose it. I don't know how to lose it. I was just constantly feeling like, this is not me. I don't know what this thing is. And it just felt like this foreign thing that caused so many different problems in my life. It's so funny because when I say all of this out loud, I look back and I'm like, it's so obvious why it was so hard to love my body. Like, if you see it as a burden, how could you love it? I started to be a little aware of that right around the time I got into college. Still going through like a lot of body image issues, a lot of weight issues. Self-love started to be a huge theme during that time. I was trying so hard to love my body, but there was just so much shame around this issue for me that I couldn't talk to anybody about it. I wouldn't really ever explain to anyone how I felt. I would leave it as the secret because I felt ashamed to even care this much. The majority of my life after that was just this trial and error period of me trying so hard to love my body. It made me really insecure, but very alone in that insecurity. I would never confess to friends that I felt insecure about that. I would always put on this front. People thought I was so confident. I don't know where they got it from. I guess the front really worked because I was not confident. I never felt good. I'd walk into a room and literally feel insecure about how I look. What the external environment around me wanted was different from room to room. So I would go to Lebanon over the summer, hang out with my friends there, and feel obese. I literally felt so fat compared to girls in Lebanon. All of this is because I didn't have my own standard. I would let the environment that I was in control the image that I thought I wanted. Like, I never had this image in my head of what I wanted until very recently. So I'd go to Lebanon. People are very thin in Lebanon. Do not want to succumb to that standard because it's just not my standard of beauty. But I would go there, feel like I need to lose 50 pounds to look good. Then I'd come back home to Dearborn and feel like, okay, I guess I could lose 20 pounds. And then started talking to some guy after college. And in his book, I wasn't thick enough. I felt like my body was literally being pulled apart by so many different people. You have this person telling me that I'm obese. You have people in my family telling me that I need to lose a certain amount of weight. You have other people in my family telling me that I need to stop dressing a certain way. You have this guy that I'm talking to whose approval I really cared about and wanted telling me that I needed to focus on getting thicker and growing my butt because my butt wasn't big enough. If your thought is why was I in that relationship, I don't know. His feeling that I didn't look good enough matched my own feeling that I didn't look good enough. Let me let that sit for a little. You're gonna attract the type of person that mirrors to you how you feel about yourself. So you better focus right now on how you feel about yourself, because the people around you are only gonna be magnets and mirrors to what's inside of you, okay? Basically, after me and that person broke up, it just launched me into a completely new, a real self-love journey. I spent a lot of time alone. During this time, I got really clear on what I wanted for myself. During this time, it became evidently clear that what I'm seeing in the mirror was never the problem. What I'm feeling inside was always the problem, and it was always going to shape the lens through which I saw myself. Over the past few years, really, I have been doubling down on feeling better. Over the past year specifically, I have really made tremendous gains in how I feel about myself. All of these random things I keep in my closet for hope that I'm gonna one day fit into the jeans that used to fit me in high school or something. It was really that toxic for a while. That I need to get rid of those things. I need to purge them. It's not making me feel good about myself. I also had a fixed mindset about buying new clothes. I felt like, well, I don't deserve to buy new clothes until I lose the weight that I wanna lose. And then it also dawned on me, like, your body deserves to feel good right now. Why are you punishing it? Why are you treating it like that? Don't you feel like feeling good in what you wear every day right now is just going to help you feel better? And if you still want to lose weight, don't you feel like that goal will be better enabled by you feeling good about yourself every day? And it's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. But something in my brain kind of made me feel like I needed to punish myself today for not being where I want to be. I'm just so proud of myself and so grateful for all the people on this journey that have also supported me, whether negatively or positively, really. Both types of people have helped me get to this place where I have unconditional love for my body. I'm not going to love it more when I get to the weight that I want to get to. That being said, it's okay that I want to lose weight. I feel like in our self-love conversations, we make things too big of a deal. I had somebody tell me when I said that I wanted to lose a specific amount of weight that I needed to feel like I'm my body goals right now. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. I need to love my body right now, but I can want to change it. And I actually think we're doing ourselves sometimes a disservice by making our body goals such a big deal. It doesn't mean it shouldn't have to mean anything about your mental health, whether you want a specific goal or not. If you told me you wanted to start lifting 30 pounds when you do bicep curls instead of 20, I'm not gonna tell you you're perfect the way you are, 20 is great. No, I'll tell you 20 is an amazing start, you're almost there, keep going. If you told me that you wanted to learn a new language, I'm not gonna tell you that like being bilingual is just good enough. You don't need to be trilingual. No, I'm gonna trust you enough to say that this goal that you have is great. I feel like there's just so much toxicity and complication around weight in the way that we talk about it and around body image, and I get it. Like obviously this whole video, like I get it. If someone tells you they want to lose or gain weight, don't make them feel bad about that. Like I want to lose weight. I still have 17 pounds that I want to lose. Like that's my measure. That's how I'm measuring my progress, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just reflecting back on all of this, I completely understand why it's been so hard for me to get to where I want to go. I completely understand how my mindset of self-hatred and self-loathing and shame and self-judgment has really kept me in a place where I don't feel good about myself. It's just so empowering to realize that it's not an external to internal transformation. It has always been an internal to external transformation, and that's why it's been so hard for me to change my external, is because internally I was not good. Internally I was not healthy. Internally I was not fit. I wasn't mentally and emotionally fit. It just feels so great to be talking about this from a perspective of being mentally and emotionally healthy and watching the changes unfold. If this is something that you're interested in, if this conversation just around attractiveness and feeling desirable and feeling good, I have a whole other video on this, and it's specifically about being Arab and overweight. How those two identities have really intersected to create a lot of insecurity. And in that video, I will talk through how I developed so much confidence. I'm talking to you today from a place of such confidence and self-assurance, and that couldn't have been further from the case for the majority of my life. So if you are interested in that, definitely watch that video. I love you so, so much, Baddie. I'm so grateful to have you to talk to about all of this, to be at a place where I'm comfortable sharing all of this with you. So if there's anything you want to share and feel inspired to share, please drop it below. I would love to hear it. I would love to embark on this journey with you and support each other along the way. See you on the next one, Baddies.